Hi, and welcome to Tap Tap Concede episode 400. We have nothing special planned, but wanted to mark that. It's been some time since gathering around the small MacBook in the what accounted for a studio in Moonbase 3, where we started it. But 400 episodes this show.
You've done this.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for your constant support. And now, the show where we do not mark this occasion at all. Enjoy! Broadcasting live from Rafine's Tower on the plain of New Capenna, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron and Nelson.
Also here.
And today, we're going to be talking about, from neon to new. It's we already have some information to go off on for the streets of New Capenna. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Gladiator games, touch on some other stuff for Kamigawa Limited, maybe also Standard, who knows. But all of this, as always, is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. That lets them know that we sent you, and we send you because they're great, excellent customer service, tremendously fast shipping, and you can tell them Loading Ready Run sent me button, please, and they'll give you a little button, which right now is a loving reprint of Math is for Blockers. And, of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Last week was the nicknames. Thank you all for your comments on that. That was a fun time. But during that, like the day before we recorded that, Wizards did they did their like weekly MTG show, and they were like, "Hey, tune in to see some stuff about Streets of New Capenna." And we were discussing, because we were like, "What are we going to talk about on Tap Tap this week?" And we decided to do the nicknames because it was a good time in the sort of the overall schedule to do it. And we were like, "Wait, hold on, New Capenna? Didn't Kamigawa just?" Hold on.
Yeah. Thank God a new set's coming out. I just finished my pre-release.
Yeah, we hadn't even recorded the nicknames episode yet.
Yeah, I'd almost gotten through my second sealed. I was really worried that I would have to play Kamigawa again.
Yeah. So this is the spoiler season has not technically begun, but this is part of their, what was the term they used? Release cadence, I suppose.
Oh, okay,
for how they were. Anyway, so this is an early tease.
They give you a little amuse bouche just as soon as you've sat down. This is the for the Streets of New Capenna free bread that's on the table.
Yes,
it's free bread for everybody.
Spoiling. That's very good, Paul. So we didn't get a huge amount of like actual card spoil. In fact, only one spell, but we did get a cycle of lands. It's the other half of the triomes. Only, I guess, 2 years later, almost exactly, because it would have, Ikoria was this same slot in the year, in 2020.
Oh. Wait, is that right? Yes, Theros, then Ikoria.
Yeah,
right?
because Ikoria was the one that it was the first one everyone played at home only because of, was everybody was like, "Oh, good thing we're only playing this on Arena because all these tokens are counters or whatever." Anyway,
that and mutate being confusing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So they're not called triomes, but we do have, for example, Jetmir's Garden, which is a mountain forest plains, taps for red, green, or white, enters tapped, and has cycling 3. Mark Rosewater confirmed these are the only cards in the set with cycling, unlike Ikoria. So Jetmir's Garden is red, green, white. We've got Rafine's Tower, which is, what's this, Esper? These are the Alara.
This is Grixis.
Sorry.
Nope, Esper.
Oh, it's Esper.
It's white, not red.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah, so Rafine's Tower, a Plains Island Swamp. Spara's Headquarters, a Forest Plains Island. Xander's Lounge. This is the Grixis one. Yeah. Which is an island swamp mountain. Oh, it looks nice in there.
And maybe, this might be a, what's the word? Sorry. Something that comes after something else of the luxury suite.
Exactly. Yeah.
The epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, if I quit and someone took my place on the show, they would be my successor. That is the word I was looking for. Sorry, I was so loud about it. Thank you. Yes, spiritual successor to the luxury suite.
They added blue now.
Yeah. No, I
Room
would totally.
for 3 on the luxury suite now. Right?
You would go to that. You would go to the lounge and you would order the drink from Lost in Translation, and the bartender would roll their eyes at you. Which is apparently a thing in Tokyo. If you go to that bar and order the same drink, the bartender's like, will spit in it directly in front of you.
Yikes.
That probably comes up less these days. I would assume. Maybe not. Who knows?
Looking forward to meeting Xander if they keep a place like this. Like you want to get into Xander's good graces.
Comfy place for some cocktails. And the last one is Zayatora's Proving Grounds, which of course is the Jund. It's the Swamp Mountain Forest. Restless riveters can always find a sparring partner in the sprawling Treza warehouse.
Good old underground boxing ring.
Yeah, gotta love it. So,
as someone who builds bad standard decks, I'm very excited for these first 5 cards that we've seen.
Yeah,
very excited.
So the flavor here and what we've learned about the set is the 5 families, because New Capenna is run by 5 crime families essentially that are in these shards, and so they are the Obscura, which is the white, blue, black.
Okay, so the Esper, yeah.
Obscura. Their symbol is, it's a hand with a keyhole and a dagger. Sort of like the dagger is positioned sort of like an Assassin's Creed hidden blade. Looking very cool there. The Maestros, which is the blue, black, red. And they have some crossed daggers over a cocktail glass, I suppose. Maybe a coin, perhaps. A little unclear. You were saying art vampires, Cameron?
Yeah, I've heard that these are the art vampires.
Love it.
I'm in.
The Riveters, which are the Jund ones, black, red, green. Their icon is a hammer and anvil. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones with the underground fighting ring.
Yeah, just your totally standard labor union.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
The crime family that's for the people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Cabaretti, their symbol is like a masquerade mask with a crown, I think. So it looks a little, what's the word?
There's like inverted skyscrapers draping beneath the circle behind the face, right?
What's the word that means owl-like? There's a word for that, isn't there?
Yes, probably.
The face is like, it's a little bit...
Michelle would know it.
The face is a little sort of like Harlequin clown, but also a little owlish.
Yeah. It's a nose, but it could also be a beak.
Yeah. Am I making this up? Is this a word that I just think should exist?
No, I mean like
that
there's other words that, like, the one that springs to mind immediately is
Stygian?
Stygian. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go. Learned something today.
Welcome to Tap Google.
And finally, the Brokers, who are green, white, blue, and their symbol is a bird with, what is that in the middle of the bird?
Jewelry?
There's something going on there. It may just be a fancy Art Deco bird.
Could be like meant to be a spade, like a shovel at the bottom, right? Or a drill.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that diamond shape that looks like, has weight above it.
Yeah. And we assume that the names on these lands, Xander, Jetmir, Rafine, Spara, and Zayatora are the heads of these families, I would assume, or at least someone important in the families. Actually, I should read more of the flavor text. Jetmir's Garden says, the park-like cabaret grounds offer rest, food, and the perfect place to shake off a tail. Rafine's Tower says, the Obscura's cloud spire dominates the skyline. Its eye, a beacon of progress that sees all. Oh, good. Spara's headquarters. To most, the Nido Sanctuary is an office complex. To the Brokers, it's a vault of secrets. And we read Zayatora's Proving Grounds in Xander's Lounge. Maestro's agents can lie low in high style at the opulent Shadow Hostel. Love it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm already
Petition to move in.
Yeah, I'm already digging the flavor. There's a single spell, which is indicating that each of the families get their own ascendancy. We've seen ascendancies before in a variety of situations. So the one that was spoiled was the Broker's Ascendancy, which is an enchantment that casts 4 green, white, blue, and it says at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Which
seems pretty good.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I heard you like glorious anthems. Yo, dog.
What if they just keep getting better?
I heard
Yeah,
you
what
like
if we
Cast Out
played a
Crusade.
glorious anthem every turn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also pump your planeswalkers. A Johnny likes it.
Yeah.
Johnny just loves this card. Yeah.
I guess we're seeing the new and controversial and seldom seen Bant likes counters theme.
Yeah. If only there were some other cards in Standard that cared about +1/+1 counters on your creatures, right? We also saw the showcase version of this was on the stream, and it's a Cubist painting. It's done in like hey, Picasso. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet, hey?
It's the Art Deco frame and the style of the painting here is super cool. I'm gonna very much enjoy the showcase frames for this, and they also showed a cycle of the full art basic lands, a couple of which really stand out to me. But if we look at the planes, this one in particular,
Yeah.
It's like the cover of Metropolis or whatever a little bit.
Yes.
Electro Deco.
Nice work.
But yeah, this very much reminds me of Metropolis. There's one of the islands in particular has with an enormous statue on it.
Awesome. I hadn't seen this yet.
Yeah, no, this is very, very cool. There's 2 in each, and one is perhaps a little more stylized than others. Cameron, this mountain by Anne-Sophie de Stuur. This one,
Very good.
right? That one just looks tremendous.
The Art Deco thing is very powerful, right?
Yeah.
And like
That's going to be
literally,
an expensive foil.
literally powerful. It's meant to convey that sense of like permanence and strength and power and, ascendancy, right?
Yeah.
You know, everything's forged in gold, like the.
But like all the long vertical unbroken lines
Right. Okay.
that kind of draw the eye upward, and you're just like, oh, this thing is really big, and it feels like it's not going to fall on me in the same way that, you don't think of an elephant. Right?
Right.
It's like the Senate building at the University of London that gets used in every like period drama about like fascism. Right? Like it gets used as the Ministry of Truth in every 1984 adaptation.
Right. This is where the power is, collected or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Each of the similarly, each of those, I guess we're just going to call them triomes, also had 2 different variants. One that was a borderless that was sort of focused primarily on the family's symbol, which I assume this is like a detail shot in that place. Like this doesn't really give a sense of place. I guess we just sort of assume that this is their logo appearing in Rafine's Tower or Jetmir's Garden or whatever. And then there's a different other cycle of these lands with a showcase frame and slightly more stylized art, but still, the one for Rafine's Tower in particular, also by Electro Deco.
Check on your shopkeep friends. Make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like getting
3
out
different versions.
when I did turned out to be like probably dodging a lot of headaches.
Just before Booster Fun?
Yeah, I did. Like pandemic dropped and I ran out of a job at Yellow Jacket right around when Project Booster Fun was really rearing its ugly head in terms of sorting all these cards. But gorgeous.
I would really love to see the Obscura Ascendancy, basically, or like the Riveter Ascendancy, maybe might be the more appropriate one, where it just looks like Guernica, and then in the regular art, it has that painting in the background being covered over. Like the way that Guernica, which is the Picasso painting of a bombing of a city of Guernica during the was it the Spanish Civil War? first major bombing by air of a city, hangs in the UN Security Council.
Okay.
Yeah, and when the Americans made their case for the invasion of Iraq, they had it covered,
Oh, wow.
which was just like,
Like, so you thought, so you realized,
yes, that this was a bad look.
and your solution was cover the Guernica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, that's probably getting it wrong in some way, but that's the way that my brain remembered it.
If you remember it better, let us know. I'm going to read those.
But I could see, like, that would be a fun art brief.
Yeah. And they also revealed a bunch of the details of, like how you can actually get the product. It's basically what you'd expect: draft boosters, set boosters, collector boosters. There's a bundle. There's themed boosters. There'll be pre-release packs, and there will be 5 commander decks, 1 for each family. Also, there's going to be in-store commander launch parties taking place April 29th to May 1st, which features a promotional version of Swiftfoot boots.
Nice.
And in North America, new to Magic players can join their friends in the Commander Launch Party action, where bringing a friend gets them a promotional Mind Stone. So that's neat.
Baller.
Yeah.
Good card.
Also, commander launch parties.
I like that
That's
it's
smart.
The stones, like their holders, were drawn to each other, united. Their true power awoke. It's like friendship.
Friendship. That's
I like
cute.
that. That is cute.
Bring your friend and then bully them in
Yeah.
Commander.
Bring
your
the
friend.
simplest format.
And then tear their card in half and draw one of your own.
Yep.
Just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah. So,
Bring your friend, and then for the for the tiny cost of breaking your mind in half, you too can enjoy the fun of Magic.
they list. We should get them to put the pre-release on this list, just because they list like it's an official thing that we do with Wizards, and they've got like
Sure, yeah.
they have a big list on the page here of like the story starts landing March 28th, the story video on the 31st, the debut video and previews begin April 7th, the card image gallery will be complete by the 15th, commander previews will be, this is of April now, commander previews on the 18th to 19th, the commander card image gallery will be complete on the 20th, in-store pre-release events on the 22nd, MTG Arena and online on the 28th. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. The launch trailer on the 28th, the worldwide release on the 29th, commander launch parties on the 29th, game day is May 7th, and the store champs are July 9th. So all the relevant dates except for the pre-release, which is happening. It'll be about a week before the pre-release. You can just sort of assume that that's a given going forward. One last thing that I wanted to say was how much I enjoy the expansion symbol for this set. It's a brass knuckle.
Nice.
With wings. I just kind of it's like, wow, really? I wouldn't have expected Magic to go with the brass knuckle or knuckles. It's a single. If it's a single thing, it's got more than one knuckle. So I guess it's a brass knuckles.
That's I think
so,
correct.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird, right? But it's like always plural.
A set of knuckles.
I think you have a brass knuckles,
Yeah.
or you have a pair of brass knuckles. If
Right,
you bring
one
them
for
both.
each hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, to save wear and tear on the hands when you're administering a little chin music.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
It's so weird that like the release cadence they talked about before goes from early March to mid July.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second too? Have we mentioned on TTC that standard rotation is happening at a different time this year?
Is it? I didn't know that.
I believe it's happening with the first of the 2 sets on Dominaria in like August instead of the 4th major set of the year.
Oh.
Yeah,
'Cause
correct me if
usually
I'm
it
wrong.
would-
I like read a tweet and I didn't go and dig into it real.
I will
hard,
look it
but-
up.
Okay,
to
but I
see if
believe
you're
that
lying.
rotation. I think Aaron Forsyth like confirmed it, or maybe it was Mark Rosenberg confirmed it. Someone official confirmed it, that it was like standard has like a normal number of sets between 5 and 8, but they're moving it back one step in the release agenda of the year, whereas typically we have fall standard rotates. And now we're going to have, I think, summer standard rotates. But also, it's a really long time between New Capenna's release and that first, like in terms of days, like total days. Like
No, I
it's
think
normally-
so. Dominaria United comes out is the September release, which
Okay.
is when standard would normally rotate, right? Because it rotated with Midnight Hunt.
Yeah, but I think.
And it's in the Midnight Hunt slot, and then Brothers War is in the Crimson Vow slot.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, is Crimson Vow coming? Sorry, the Crimson Vow slot is like a December set, right? Mm-hmm. So is that when it's happening, or is it summer? Because like last year was a pretty weird year for Magic too, with Innistrad being split into 2 sets. Normally we have like early winter, that was Kamigawa, in the early part of the year, like January, early February, and then a spring, a summer, and a fall. Right. And that's it. Like that was the old model for many years back in the days of Magic blocks. Mm-hmm. And in the fall set, like aligned with the school year, the standard format rotates. So, yeah, we can talk about that next week. It's fine.
I can't find any specific information to...
If that goes real rocky, but the trade-off is we get paper pre-releases before the digital release of the set, I'll take it.
I can't find anything to support or refute what you have said.
Okay.
So
someone in the comments, I'm sure by now, you're watching, someone will have already been like, yeah, it was this tweet. And, I'll go in and like that.
Well, hey, speaking of standard, you've been actually playing a little bit of it.
Yeah, I've
recently.
been enjoying this standard format a lot.
Really cool.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow,
No, I haven't
those
played
are
much
words you
standard. and it was on the back of a limited set that I still like a lot too. Like, I think this is my number 2 favorite limited release of like the past 5 years because Call Time, I just couldn't get out of the draft queue. I just played the draft queue.
Yeah, you loved Call Time.
Until what even was the next set after that? Until Strixhaven came out.
Oh, I had a lot of fun with Strixhaven.
I liked it too. I liked Strixhaven like a very normal or more amount. Mm-hmm. But I just loved Call Time. But this set, it's like I played up until the sealed open, and then after that weekend I was a little dejected. Well, we can come back to that. And then I started getting into standard because there was just like various cards that I'm inspired to be like, yeah, I want to find out what happens when you can jam 4 of these with 4 of these in the same deck. So currently my pet is Wraths and Sagas, featuring 1 copy of Tameshi to get the sagas back if the game goes really late. And it's like 5 color and includes Kami War.
Storytime with Tameshi seems really great.
Storytime
what are
with
the
Tameshi.
What are the all-time sagas?
Well, you got to play Binding the Old Gods, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Although on color, you have kind of a blue Binding of the Old Gods and expressive iteration.
Okay.
So for 4 mana, you can pretty easily like take care of a permanent, at least for a turn. And then to help fuel, like, Tameshi having plays when you're not at 12 or 15 mana yet, in the 2-drop slot, I'm playing a lot of Spirited Companions, Everyone Loves a Good Boy, and Path of the World Tree, because that's like a Spirited Companion for the purpose of like you play a card and on 2 and it cycles, like it gets you back another card. Also helps you develop your mana. Because at the top, we're playing the Kami War to be like, Binding of the Old Gods, number 10 and 12 or whatever. Yeah, exactly. I think it's like I'm playing right now like 2 Express Iteration and 2 Kami War. So it's like Binding of the Old Gods 5 through 8. And also Wake the Trolls, which I'm not sure is going to stick around in the list, but it's just like there's a bunch of decks right now that like play a bunch of permanents. But they just try to get you in a position like Mono Green is generally like this, like Eska's Chariots, which you have to deal with, especially outside of your Doomskars, and a bunch of creatures and maybe Old Growth Trolls. So like the Farewell puts in a lot of work, like exiling these creatures that have death triggers, or the Kami War can hit the right one. But then they'll just kill you with their Lair of the Hydra. So you kind of need like some land destruction if you're trying. This deck is trying to be the like, stop everything they're doing. Fully hard control strategy.
And Waking the Trolls is the one that you get to destroy a land, so you're picking off their...
Yeah, you take out their AFR creature land.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and then you get to steal it the next turn.
Oh, right, of course.
Oh,
that's
and you
even
play
better.
some Felidar Retreats, too, which work really well with Tameshi, as well as with Waking the Trolls.
Oh, wow.
And with Binding the Old Gods. Everything in your deck like kind of puts lands into play.
Sweet.
Your Binding the Old Gods tend to, like, in the current version I'm running at least, the Binding the Old Gods, like, runs out of forests. So, I don't know. There's probably some other cool decks that are playing like Felidar Retreat next to some of these other cards to get lands in.
This sounds like exactly my kind of hateful magic.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, it's a 5-color ramp deck that's also like a very kind of mean controlling deck. It gets run over a bunch and like the win rate's not amazing. But I think Standard's pretty cool right now.
What's the mana base in this like?
So I'm playing like some of like kind of like a Highlander sprinkling of several... do we have a name for these, by the way? This came up on my stream the other day, and I had no idea. And I'd like for there to be a good name, but it's the cycle of rare lands from Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, where you have to have at least 2 lands in, and then they come to play untapped. Are they just slow lands? Are they slow duels? It's like
I don't remember.
Yeah.
so these are the rare lands from both Innistrad sets together completed the cycle. Rockfall Vale is one of them, and Sundown Pass is another. And if you have 2 or more lands, they're untapped. So as long as they're your third land.
Right. I feel like
Slow land.
Slow land.
Sure.
Slow
lands.
sure.
Yep, that's fine.
Sure.
They're the opposite of fast lands,
That's
basically.
according to MTG Wiki. So
I'm fine with it. Yeah, these slow duels are great because they're not that slow. It's just the first 2 turns where you're locked off plays. So if you play like some of these and some basics and some pathways, you have pretty good mana. In terms of like you're making your land drops, right? Like my deck, I'm not playing any AFR lands. Those are the ones like the AFR creature lands almost always come into play tapped.
yeah.
So because the like mana you want to spend on your spells like gets up to 6, you want to reliably hit 6, and then like as the game progresses, sometimes you want to be able to go 4+4 or 6+4 or whatever. You're often like needing to find or hit or like draw into lands come to play tapped. I like these, and I like the basics, and I like the pathways. But I'm not currently playing any of the AFR creature lands, although those are very popular. The AFR creature lands, like in the standard mana base, it's like the pathways. Between Kaldheim and Zendikar, you've got all the pathways, and the AFR duels, or sorry, not duels, the AFR creature lands are kind of the most common, I would say.
How many? But you still have to run an amount of basics for Path of the World.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm playing 2 Kaldheim Snow duels as well for Binding of the Old Gods. Path of the World Tree needs you to have like one of each basic if you want to do the thing, and then Binding of the Old Gods can get a forest, so I'm playing 1 Arctic Vale and 1 Woodland Chasm so that you can fix your mana for the colors you likely don't have.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's not Woodland Chasm, sorry. It's definitely... it's like going and getting white is like really important, so Binding the Old Gods means you've already gotten black together, so I think I have the green-white and the green-red snow common duels. That always
Binding the Old
tapped.
Gods goes looking for
Any forest.
Any forest.
So that's getting... Binding the Old Gods getting way better next set because you can go get a Triome.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm excited about that. My silly Kami War Tameshi deck might not still be around, but Binding of the Old Gods will still be around. So people will be getting Triomes with Binding of the Old Gods.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, but the shape of Standard I think is pretty cool right now too. There's Alrund's Epiphany's been banned, but Blue-Red Goldspan Dragon into Galvanic iteration shenanigans is still around. You can still just like Galvanic iteration your way into a cleaved Alchemist Gambit to like end the game with barely anything on the board. Take 3 turns in a row, or you can
Galvanic Iteration is one from AFR that's blue-red instant. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You can choose new targets, and it flashes back for 1 blue-red.
Midnight Hunt, but yeah.
Sorry, Midnight Hunt. Sorry, wait. What?
curiosity.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Isn't that funny? Those two, they came out right in a row, and it's like a dragon head and then a wolf head, and it's impossible to tell from like 10 feet away which one's
for
which.
some reason,
it's not your fault.
I saw the wolf head, and I was like, that's
the AFR, right?
definitely Dungeons & Dragons. I don't know why I thought that.
Because there's not very many set symbols that are just like iconic creature's face.
Yeah.
And they came out right next to each other.
From Legions.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's right. There you
judge
go.
question on this. You cast Galvanic Iteration. You flash it back immediately.
Yeah, you get 3 copies total of the next spell.
Okay.
Right? Because and you'll make that play sometimes because that's how your mana works out. So you cast Galvanic Iteration, which means you get 2 copies of your next spell, and then you flash back Galvanic Iteration, which means you get 2 copies of Galvanic Iteration on the stack. Right, which means the next spell you cast after that,
You
you're
get
gonna cast
the one
3
that
times.
you're casting and 2 copies.
It doesn't like multiply.
No.
It's just it just adds them all up. But yeah, it works.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, if you got the mana for it, and
That's cool.
Sometimes that'll happen if you have like a bunch of mana, and you instead of top decking the Alchemist Gambit to take another turn, you hit like Unexpected Windfall, which is it's neat that this card gets a lot of play. Partly on the back of being an instant. Pirate's Pillage from Ixalan has kind of gotten a glow up in AFR and has been showing up variously. But this is a really cool card to copy.
Right, because
Yeah.
Unexpected Windfall, it's the 2 red as an additional cost. You discard a card, and then you draw 2 cards and make 2 treasure. But you only have to
Discard
pay
the
that
one card.
cost. Yeah, so you pay 4 mana, discard 1 card, and then
Draw
draw 4
or 6 or whatever.
Make
yeah.
4 treasure, yeah.
And make all these treasures. Yeah, and if you have a Goldspan Dragon out, that doubles your treasures.
My goodness.
What did my opponent do? There's also like, you can just like send a like a bad burn spell or whatever at your Goldspan dragon to make treasures, because that hasn't been nerfed in regular standard, right? Like standard is all paper cards with banning still. In case you've forgotten over the past 6 months, what's standard? It's like we have alchemy and then we have legacy,
saying
right?
that they haven't actually yet released Kamigawa Alchemy.
Yeah, that's right. So we don't know when, but it's this month. So who knows? Maybe by the time you're watching this, like if it just came out.
We're recording on March 10th.
Yeah, it's Friday it's Thursday
what?
today, and maybe tomorrow morning they're going to be like, "Hey, Kamigawa Alchemy's out now," right? Like who knows? They haven't told us. They said it was this month, so they've got 21 more days to be honest. But it is kind of weird that we don't know which day that's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because like there's just time of recording. There's the Kamigawa Championship coming up this weekend for Historic and Alchemy, so you can check out all the VODs of that on the Magic Esports YouTube or whichever it is, or their VODs on Twitch. And yeah, like maybe they just want to watch the pros before they decide exactly which cards they're going to release, or maybe they'll give cards buffs or nerfs before they hit the app.
Is Kamigawa Championship, is that roughly analogous to what was a Pro Tour?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to look at the screenshot of like, Ailey and Maria and Cedric about to cast it.
Right.
I get the impression that it's a Pro Tour. They're going to play two formats, all constructed.
That's wild.
Historic and Alchemy.
It's wild that it's Alchemy to me.
A little, yeah. But I mean, it's a product and they're pushing it. And I mean, the fact that it's Alchemy is in line with how last year they're like, hey, the Pro Tour is not a career anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, what do they want this tournament to be? Let's showcase the format that we care about in the hands of the casuals. How far away are we from Pro Tour Commander? Right?
That sounds awful.
Yeah, no, like very, very weird. But it's they're kind of neighbors, right? Like you got Alchemy is like,
No.
I don't know. It's the idea of alchemy is like it's supposed to be kind of like fun experiment.
Cameron just had his soul leave his body.
I can
sorry,
just
buddy.
see the post thing interviews where it's like, yeah, no, I felt like I was really well situated in my pod, and then my opponent completely, or the person I'd allied with completely misevaluated the threat posed by my 35/35 non-trampling, non-evasive creature and Wrath the Board, which ruined my entire life and cost me $15,000 or whatever. Right? Like,
oh, the friendships will ruin.
Oh, you think you don't like Cyclonic Rift now? Wait till there's money on the line.
Yikes!
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think Commander survives as a tournament format.
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly joking, but
Yeah. No, I know you were.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
To
then like
be clear, we
Yeah.
also know Nelson was joking.
but it's
yeah.
weird that alchemy is happening as this weekend's format, right? Like I echo your sentiments.
Yeah, maybe it's because I just don't go on Twitter nearly as much as I used to, but it feels like I have missed a bunch of hot takes of pro-level Magic players getting angry that Alchemy is one of the formats. Like, I would think that it'd be like, this seems like the sort of thing they'd be upset about.
Right.
Meaning no offense.
Yeah, I don't know. I am on Twitter more than I should be, and I haven't caught too
That's
many of
true
those.
of most people who are on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're all on Twitter more than we should be, but I'll come out and admit it.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know. Honestly, like from a competitive player stand, like I know it's supposed to be like the brewing ground or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the player bases also complain like it's this huge cash grab. Like you can have fun and build new decks and play with weird cards that get rebalanced every week, but they don't give you any wild cards back when they rebalance them, so they just keep taking your money. And that's legit. But the pros, I think, are just like, well, this is just different standard. Like it's like another competitive playground for us to try to solve, right?
this is where we're playing now.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. What was it? There was one other thing we were going to talk about, and now I can't remember what it was.
Well, we were going to touch
the
on our
open.
sealed, and
Right.
and we were going to talk about Gladiator.
Gladiator. That's what it was. Yeah. I mean,
We can breeze through the sealed.
Yeah. The Arena Open. Cameron, did you participate?
No,
Great.
no, I did not.
I threw 5,000 gems into going 2 and 3. It was a very bad pool, and my opponent's decks were all better than mine. Nelson, how did you do?
I put 15,000 gems into going 3-1, 2-1, 1-1 in the traditional queue.
Oof.
So I got some prizes back, Like
Yeah.
I'm
What
trying
do
to
you get-
remember if maybe I went 3-1 twice because
What do you get for 3-1? You get
3-1 you get like half your entry fee.
Okay.
I think you get 2,000 or 3,000 gems. So it was still a bad day overall. I did like lose a bunch of gems, but I don't know. I played a lot of Magic. I played my heart out, and I made at least one bad mistake. I like forgot one of my samurais was going to have attacks alone trigger.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I like planned a turn wrong and then like went through with it. And then by the end of the turn, I was like, oh, I could have been not dead for one more turn. So I was probably still losing that
You
match
do that-
anyway, but
do that thing where it's
caught
like
a punt. I caught a punt, yeah.
where like you've been attacking with the one samurai for so many turns that you just think that it's an innate thing of attacking at all, and then you attack with more than one creature, and the trigger didn't happen. What's going? Oh,
Yeah,
because I
suddenly you're
attacked with
just-
2 creatures. Oh no!
Yeah, suddenly you're just like, oh, right, you're just a 1/3.
The other
Yeah.
funny mistake I made was so I'm almost dead. They flash in the ninja that's a 5/5. I'm at 5. But I have March at Wretched Sorrow. But they have the Kiki-Jiki side of the Fable of the Mirror Breaker
Right.
that's going to kill me, like for sure, right? If I don't just die to this 5/5 ninja. And I'm like, I got to kill the ninja because it's going to kill me, right? No, I can just gain 5 life and kill Kiki-Jiki, and then I can stabilize against the vanilla 5/5 after that. But I missed that in the moment and just killed the ninja, and then I'm like at 10, and then I'm like, oh, oops. Because March of Wretched Sorrow gains you life, so you can
Right.
take combat damage if you gain life, which is like a weird punt. I think it's the first punt I can remember where I'm like, I forgot that my life gain would save me. I can't remember like ever
Right.
ever forgetting the benefits of life gain as a key strategic point. You
Right.
know what I mean? Usually life gain is like incidental.
Right,
And
but like,
and matters like if you're blocking with lifelink or something.
right, but it, yeah, like just kind of like an arithmetic error almost.
Yeah, it'd be like if I had a healing salve in my hand that I just forget to cast targeting myself. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's like a
right.
funny like mistake that I think it's more like a veteran to make than a new player, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense to
Yeah.
me. Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, I played Magic all day and did not make day 2. Tried really hard with like 3 or 4 different pools.
Bummer.
Yeah. So it was fun. I don't know. The format's fine. Sealed format's fine.
Love draft in this format, and I have had very poor experiences outside of the PPR. I've had very poor experiences with sealed. So
Yeah. Like the draft environment for Kamigawa is just so good.
Yeah.
And feels so powerful. Right? Like the feel of all these cards really contributes to you having a good time, even if your deck isn't terribly powerful. It feels like it does something. Right? Like even if you put together a solid B tier samurai deck and just kind of get stomped, at least there are triggers happening. Right? There are lights going off and you're like, ah, yes, endorphins are occurring in my brain.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's part of it's like the good side of the packs being all playables. Right? Like back in the day, there were bad cards in the packs of Magic cards to try to weed out the good from the bad drafters. Like if you draft the right cards, you win a draft. And now it's like you can build a deck out of any of the cards in the packs. And your deck will do its thing, and your opponent's deck might also do their thing and be more powerful, but you feel like you played.
Yes.
Right? I've had some decks that I thought were going to 7 win for sure, and it's like 3-3 and you're done, or 2-3 and you're done. And when I look back, it's just like, yeah, my opponent's decks were all really good.
Yeah.
It's good draft format.
yeah. All right. Cool. So then, this past weekend also was the Gladiator games. Now, about last June, when did we do the
was it?
great big Gladiator games?
Was it last year or the year before?
It was last year. It was sometime last year. We did a big stream of a massive Gladiator tournament, but that's actually something that they do every set.
right.
Is not to the scale that we did, but they do a Gladiator games. By they, I mean the folks at the Gladiator Discord, which is open, and you should check out if you like Gladiator. And if you don't know what Gladiator is, it's it's as close as you can get to Highlander on Arena. It's a 100 cards singleton format with whatever's available on Arena.
A small band list.
Yeah, very small little band list. Anyway, it's super fun, and every set they do Gladiator games, and you were fighting in the one the Kamigawa one.
I jumped in and again played hard. I played Wheeler's Bant Blink deck from the night before on our F&PF.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a format you're pretty familiar with from Highlander, right?
Yeah, it is the closest thing to Canadian Highlander that you can do on Arena. I guess it's even closer to being German Highlander because it uses a band list instead of a points list. Like
It's not format, but like deck archetype.
Right. Oh, yeah, sorry, you meant the deck. Yeah, that's right. The Bant deck does a bunch of the same things that my Canadian Highlander Bant deck was doing 3 years ago, and Bant Blink is like an archetype. I've put a bunch of reps, like several tournaments in a row, and several 3-1s. I don't know if I ever won with Bant Blink, but I was like aiming to win a Monday night with Bant Blink because I really like it. And it's the same kind of end game lock you're trying to go for. You're just not as reliably getting there on Arena, but there's still tons of great plays, and the play style is the same. And you have the Ephemerate, you have the Resto Angel, and like the end game I was talking about is Time Warp with Soul Herder and Eternal Witness, although it's Timeless Witness on MTG Arena, but that's fine. You still can like set up the lock, so the game has this sort of combo potential while getting to play like a bunch of mana dorks and like little creatures that are kind of good in the early game, and pretty good at staying alive, and also pretty good at like smoothing out its draw with Elvish Visionaries and Sylvan Rangers, that kind of like mana smoothing cards, sort of the wood elf type creatures, and then also just getting to play some like big fun creatures like Thragtusk.
Yeah. Like
it could play Gear Hulks if you wanted to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like the Bant Blink strategy is really interesting because it's a lot of like really interesting, clever things, and also just like enormous green dudes that have an ETB effect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that are good when you just flop them normally.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good deck that plays a bunch of good cards. I went 3-2, so not like the most amazing performance. I believe I did make a punt somewhere in my second round to lose to Bison, who went really far. I'm not sure if Bison won 4 or 5, but they were doing really well on this. Also, very cool Grixis mid-range deck, but the Grixis sort of like an analogy or analogous to Grixis Control from our Canadian Highlander scene, but like maybe a little bit more proactive, just a little bit lower curve. If you can't have all the most powerful cards in all of Magic, just try to keep your curve as low as possible. But tons of powerful stuff, and we had a great match back and forth that came right down to the wire. And then the last round, I might have also made a mistake somewhere in there. I was trying so hard, but I lost to a player on black-white mid-range control, which like get a bunch of tokens and have powerful sacrifice outlets to blow up your opponent's stuff. The same kind of, it's one of the archetypes from Standard. It looks pretty similar in the Gladiator form, but that match is kind of abysmal for the Bant Blink deck. If they just have like a recurring ways to remove your stuff and make you sacrifice your creatures, it's like, okay, yeah, that is good against Land War Elves.
Right.
But I had a really good time.
Cool. Okay.
And yeah, it was like everybody had fun. I don't know. I didn't see anyone in the chat of the Twitch being a jerk or anything. Like everyone's generally like pumping each other up. When you play tournaments on MTG Melee, you can chat with your opponent like as if it's Magic Online instead of normally on Arena. It's just like hello, and then like maybe if you want to be a jerk, you're like spamming good game, and if you have some funny emotes related to you, you can like make your Hedron cry when they win or whatever.
Right.
Like, that's the extent of the communication. But like all of my opponents after the match were like, wow, close one, great games, good luck next round. So that was nice and encouraging. I miss paper Magic tournaments.
When we were doing the great big Gladiator games, it was just a universally cool experience with nice folks. So that was good. I hope we can do another one of those at some point, because I still can't remember. I think it was in July. I think we pushed it back last year, and it ended up being in July. So who knows?
I should really join the Gladiator Discord and just hang out.
It's a
because
fun
they all seem
format.
like good folk.
Oh yeah, it's a good scene.
Okay.
Remind me what's the situation on the rebalanced cards?
Right. Okay. So we figured this out eventually, although there was like a weird hiccup. Yeah. Don't save your Gladiator deck as limited rebalanced. Save it, which is an option. I have no idea why Arena has an option for saving decks called limited rebalanced. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I suppose it's for people who casually want to play these cards.
Okay, yeah.
In a 40-card deck?
Without deck constraints. Like maybe Arena thought, either the developers thought, yeah, someone's going to want to play a deck with 40 or 35 Faceless Havens, so let's let them. or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay,
sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but anyways, there was one player who submitted their deck like that, and they managed to have like a Faceless Haven that was a 3/3 instead of a 4/3 or whatever in their deck. And it came up in the like LR Slack the day before, like how do we save Gladiator decks again? I always forget. And we were going through it. So the deal is, I'm getting to the point. Sorry, taking forever. Getting to the point. You may play the arena only cards, but you may not play the rebalanced standard cards. You must play
Yes.
the regular standard cards. So like everything that's a paper card, you can play in Gladiator, and everything
As its paper form.
in the paper form. Yes,
But everything that's digital only is also fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you
You can play like Sarkhan, Wanderer of Shiv, or whatever.
yeah, you can play the alchemy cards, but if there is a paper card, it takes precedence.
Yeah, it's like the cards with the alchemy set or whatever, like those
Yeah.
ones, like Discover the Formula, you can play.
Yes.
And they might rebalance that card from time to time, like from ones from
Right.
the alchemy release, and you'll just play whatever version is available.
Like,
Because they're not going to give you two chances. Of
what's
those.
the one-
Davriel's Withering.
Davriel's Withering. Yeah.
Or Townraiser Tyrant. That's the one they've
Townraiser
changed
Tyrant.
twice now.
Right. That's been nerfed twice, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Townraiser Tyrant, you can play, and there's only one Townraiser Tyrant, so don't worry about it. Just put a Townraiser Tyrant in your deck; it'll be fine.
But for Alrund's Epiphany, you can only play the one.
The good one.
The good one.
The good one, yeah.
Yeah,
the one
exactly.
that's the one that was originally printed on paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't play like Nexus of Fate or Oko or Field of the Dead or maybe Teferi Time Raveler. There is the ban list is right there on the Discord.
It's like 5 cards. It's not
very
that many.
small. Yeah. Nissa, Who Shakes the World, is back. You can play
Yeah.
her. She
Oh.
got unbanned.
Yeah, but the Gladiator ban list is a list you read and you're like, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And they
Cool.
talk about other cards. I think Natural Order got on there too. I think
Oh,
maybe
right, because
Natural Order from
all the
system.
archive, the mystical archive is all.
But like you can play Keys to the Archive and you can play Time Warp. Like that's not banned. It was in my deck.
yeah.
Time Warp at least. But Keys to the Archive seems sweet in Gladiator too. Yeah. It's a really fun format, and one of our friends, Amethyst, even said like, yeah, finding matches does take a second. You got to go to the Discord and find a person who is also looking for a game at the same time. It's never taken me more than 5 minutes, but it takes a couple minutes. It's slower than just hitting the play button. And Amethyst just said like, I just play my Gladiator decks in the historic queue. And so like you got to cut, if you're going to do that, you have to cut your Brainstorm and your Memory Lapse or whatever and your Time Warp. But it's like you can still
why
just
not?
get games
Yeah,
in
actually,
quick.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
your win rate's probably fine. I don't know.
All right, cool.
So yeah, definitely play Gladiator if not playing Gladiator yet. It's great.
I hadn't even thought of just like taking my Gladiator deck into the historic queue, but that's good.
Yeah, you're
Right?
allowed to. Yeah, if you just want to see what it does, you're like, does this work? Do I
Yeah.
have enough mana dorks, or like, do
Yeah,
I
I
have enough
suppose you
black
could-
sources? Like,
I guess it's like queuing for a vintage tournament with your Highlander deck.
yeah, it's legal.
Yeah. Huh.
Why not? All right, cool. Well, that was a fun catch up of a bunch of different things. But I think that is going to do it for this episode of Tap Tap Conceit. If you want to get yourself some cards that probably aren't going to be relevant for Gladiator, but you could maybe play some Canadian Highlander or something else in paper, some of the standard decks Nelson was talking about, you can get yourself some real cardboard from cardkingdom.com/LRR. Head over there, let them know that we sent you, get yourself a little button. It says math is for blockers. Also, the show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That is it for this week. I have been Graham, joined by Cameron and Nelson.
Present.
Paul's been running tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.